So yeah, Synopsys had earnings. I had the opportunity to chat with Sassine Ghazi, the CEO, as well. I appreciate a lot to get that double click. I mean, net, they had a great quarter. They had a beat and a beat. They had record revenue, and then their forecast looked in line on revenue with an upward revision on EPS. There was a slight uptick after hours, and their stock actually declined the day after. But the Nasdaq, everything else was down too. It's interesting, as opposed to digging into specifically in the quarter. I really wanted to dive into what was said on the call. Uh, Synopsys is one of those companies that, in regards to earnings, you literally have to go on the call to get any insights. And the amount of insights and how it relates to the rest of the industry, I just thought was fascinating. On the call, Sassine, first of all, he talked about ANSYS, which still expects it to close first half of 2025. But then there were these. They didn't use their names. Scene used characterization of their customers and how they were doing this. So, debug, right, is a major time and resource investment for any chip. And he had said that a large U.S.-based GPU company adopted the Verdi platform, and a large U.S. mobile SoC company, reducing failure debug from days to minutes. So, how do you say NVIDIA and Qualcomm without saying NVIDIA and Qualcomm? That's the way you describe it. Verification is also another key part of the design and test process for any IP or SoC vendor. And with VSO.ai, a marquee US GPU company deployed the VSO.ai across multiple IPs with time improvements of 2x to 7x and coverage improvements up to 33%. So 33% more stuff that you test, 2x to 7x the speed. And I'll throw one final one out here, which is actually I'll do two. Zebu, which is part of the EP product line for emulation and prototyping, hence the E and the P. They had a significant hardware expansion at a large U.S. hyperscaler in a direct win versus the competition. Competitive takeout with Cadence, and I guess there's just one of three of these hyperscalers. My final one here is also gives you an insight into tape outs and foundries. And he said, we continue to win new design wins on ICV with 20 tape outs in Q3. 4 of these tape outs were on TSMC N3 and one on IFS 18A, where engagements are increasing rapidly. It's interesting. We had a little taste of IFS versus TSMC leading. What's interesting is I thought Intel had said that there won't be any tape outs on 18A until 25. Anyways, maybe I misheard what Intel said, or maybe they're talking about Intel design company using Synopsys to do a tape out in a 18A. I don't know. We'll see. But the insights, and I think what this did, just to make a long story longer, it just shows the value that Synopsys has on EDA.
Yeah, Pat, you hit it on the head. I mean, this IP and EDA company continues to be a sort of quiet but really critical star of this AI transformation that we have going on, whether it comes down to generative AI tools to speed up design, to being a key partner to, you kind of named without naming, and it's pretty much pervasive across the players. they're expanding, they're investing and divesting. They've been adding the things that I think are essential for their growth. They spun off some things I think that were not focal points for the business. They saw record revenue. They were able to confirm guidance on the earnings. They were able to, get to the revenue midpoint. I think they're able to be somewhat conservative, but optimistic because of the overall situation and the amount of demand. I mean, look, as we keep hearing about these next generation, we're going to talk about this throughout the show today. We're hearing about these design wins, whether it's OpenAI building an XPU. I mean, Synopsys just has a part to play in so many of the scale of this AI movement. And of course, it's not just AI chips. Every time you hear about AI, there's more storage, there's more networking, there's more traditional, sort of general purpose compute. This stuff all happens in tandem. Memory, I mean, all this stuff happens, and Synopsys has a role to play in so many of these parts. So it's an exciting company. I've had a number of conversations with Sassine. I mean, since he's taken the helm, I feel like he's doing a really good job steering the ship. I'm glad you had the chance to sit down with him. It sounds to me like there's a lot of reason for optimism over there. It's going to be one of those I don't know if I use the word like unsung hero, because they're definitely not unknown. But I think when people talk about like chips, they like to talk about AMD and NVIDIA, Intel, Qualcomm. And a lot of times that there's this whole supply chain, there's the material stuff. We talked about coherent last week. Laser beams, there's machinery, there's wafer, there's and what I'm saying is like, there's just so much more to producing these final products. And it's not always as cool, but gosh, try to do this stuff without these companies. It's just, you can't. I mean,
yeah, it's interesting. It's very similar to the way like nobody had really ever heard of ARM, right?
yeah.
And then boom, market gets some education. I think EDA players are going to be the power brokers, right? As you get more people making SoCs, doing IPs, chiplet-based architectures, enable small garage shops to do this stuff, and add on that the system part of it with ANSYS, and now you got end to end.